Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I would show you how I make moi moi. I've already peeled my beans. If you'd like to watch my video on how to use a blender to peel your beans, I'll leave a link down below. I've also soaked the beans for a couple actually I soaked it overnight, but you could soak it for several hours, maybe 4 to 5 hours, depending on the strength or the power of your blender. I just peeled my beans yesterday and left it overnight. And I have a very high power blender, but I just didn't get to make the moi moi yesterday, so I decided to do it today. In addition to using to the beans, I also would need onions. I have garlic and some hot peppers, which I often freeze, and you can see it's frozen. Here I have what we call tatashe. I buy them in bulk and then I chop them up and I freeze them. So that's why that is frozen. For moi moi, you can use palm oil or vegetable oil. For this recipe, I will be using vegetable oil. Also, I use some spices. Turmeric is the spice that I often use most of my recipes. Also salt and some Knorr powder. I'm adding tuna and also sliced hard-boiled eggs. Now my blender is a very high power blender, so I often don't chop things up because it's very strong and it can just blend very smoothly. So I start by putting everything in the blender. Add some water, but you have to be very careful adding a lot of water. You just add just enough to help the beans to blend smoothly, so that way your moi moi is not too soft and mushy. I'll also add some tatashe or shepherd pepper, it's called in English. The tatashe or shepherd pepper adds the color of the moi moi. I often get questions as to what the measurements are when I'm doing my recipes. If you're very familiar with African cooking, you generally eyeball your measurements, and you get, just like anything else, you get better the more you do it. You can see the consistency that I have there. So I pour this in my mixing bowl where I'm going to mix all my ingredients, spices and all the rest of them, and you'll see in a minute. Add the rest of the tatashe. Just in case you were wondering why I have my blender on a cushioned set of oven gloves. Because it's a high power blender, it makes a lot of noise and it vibrates, so I use that to just dampen it when I'm blending. Now I have blended all the beans. You can see the color, and this color is from the tattache that I added to the mixture. Mix properly. If you remember my first set of ingredients that I blended, I had the onions and the peppers and garlic in that batch, and in the second batch I only had the tattache and the rest of the beans. So it's very important to mix it very properly when you have all together. Next I add the vegetable oil. You should also take note of the consistency of the mixture. It's very important. If it's too thick, your moi moi will come out very hard. If it's too thin or watery, your moi moi will be very mushy. I also, like I said earlier, I love turmeric. I use turmeric in almost all my recipes. And turmeric for this moi moi is really a great addition because it gives it a very beautiful color, as you see in a moment. You add all your spices to your taste. And you mix properly to allow all the ingredients to kind of dissolve in the mixture. You allow them to sit for just a little bit of time, a few minutes, so that it dissolves in the mixture. That the mixture is ready, you can see the color from the turmeric. It looks a little bit even much more brighter than it was just with the tattache alone. For this moi moi, I'm going to be using the nylon bags. I think these are commonly called Santana. I got a few of these way back when I had gone back to Nigeria. I'm not sure if they still carry these bags these days, but you can use this bag because it's very strong and it doesn't burst when it's cooking. I'm adding some tuna. You can add any type of fish you like. You can also add things like a liver. I normally would like to use the mackerel fish, but I just have tuna this time, and that's why I'm using tuna instead of mackerel. To wrap your moi moi, you can use the nylon bags that I'm using. You can also use leaves, usually like plantain leaves. You can also use, there's a special kind of leaf that is common in Nigeria. I'm not sure what it's called, but they are, they take you have to be very skillful to be able to use the leaves. If I come across those leaves, I might make a video and just show you how to do that, how to wrap moi moi in that particular leaf that I'm referring to. Using the leaf is really very good because it gives it a special kind of flavor, but that's something that is very hard to come by in Canada or in the Western world. Now that I've wrapped all the moi moi, I'll go ahead and put it into my boiling pot of water. So I covered the pot. And I usually would reduce the heat to just medium heat. That way it doesn't cook too fast and be too harsh on the bags. So it cooks very slowly and it becomes well cooked all the way to the center of the moi moi. After about 30 minutes, the moi moi is ready. And how do you know it's ready? When you bring it out, there should be no liquid or uncooked portion of the moi moi. Before I open the bag, I let it cool for a little bit so that way it's easier to unwrap it. Just after about 3-5 minutes, you can actually unwrap it immediately. You can unwrap it immediately, but I just wanted to let it cool a little bit so you can see what the final consistency is. You can see it's firm. It's soft but firm. You can, there's no liquid part of it. That is really good. Sorry about this. I had to show you this. I couldn't wait to eat some. Well, thank you so much for watching my channel.